All right, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, I'm always gonna go off about this setup because it's just absolutely crazy to see. I've been doing the podcast for 2 fucking years, and seeing myself never gets old. I guess because it's just the mirror of progression as to where my life is at and stuff like that. But today's episode, what I wanted to talk about is tracking the non-negotiables in a way that you can scale your life. And what I mean by tracking your non-negotiables is you have your life, you have your where you want to take it mentally, emotionally, physically. You have your goals, you have everything written down, you have your ways of tracking them, right? And the biggest thing about tracking your non-negotiables is that you want to make sure that your life becomes scalable. And what I mean by that is everyone that's working with me knows that I talk about changing your life or transforming your life from the standpoint of never needing to really go back to your old version of yourself. And I really, really try to get everyone to understand that you're never gonna be entirely ridded or never gonna entirely be have that version of yourself that you used to be gone entirely. It's always gonna arise through certain seasons of life, especially when stress comes up or new changes, like positive and everything, right? You're just always gonna have those glimpses of the previous versions of you come up, and it's always going to be that relationship you're working on with them. But the biggest thing about wanting to scale your life is the things you're tracking have to be things that you can have confidence are going to give you reassurance, certainty, and just give you that peace of mind that you are where you're at in space and time, regardless of the situations you're dealing with mentally. Your feelings and emotions when you're dealing with stress, and the turmoil of life can be super, super hard to navigate. And it's not about feeling like you're less than with these situations that arise through life and things that come up, but it's about being able to articulate them to understand what you need in those moments. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, the version of you that you are changing, that past versions of you that you don't really necessarily enjoy, that kind of like hold you down in a way, that anchor you down, are always going to be there to a degree. So it's not about holding resentment because of mixed emotions and things like that. It's about understanding what you need in those moments. And that's why focusing on what you can control in terms of your tracking your non-negotiables to make sure that you can scale your life to the life that you want forever is just to make sure that you're on the right track. And examples that I'm going to give you right now is me doing this podcast, and at the beginning always reassuring that I can see myself in the mirror, because it's just super validating. And that's exactly what I want you guys to understand is seeing your non-negotiables measured helps you look at things to get validated, which gives you the certainty and the peace of mind. So, with me be doing this, it's November right now, November 14th, I believe, recording this podcast episode. This January will be 2 years full time that I've been doing this full time income. And the reason why I'm highlighting that is because I'm in the process now of really learning how to measure everything in my life to be able to understand where I'm going and having certainty that it's going to stay there forever. What I mean by that is when you work for somebody else or work for a company or have a job, you go in, you put hours in, you leave, you go home, and you manage your life, and then you get paid and you use that income to situate your life. When you run your own business, everything is your entire lifestyle. Like I don't have a pension plan, I don't have benefits, none of these things like that. I just make income, and then I have to manage that for taxes myself. I have to break down all of my money by myself through this processes and things like that. And for me to make sure that my future is where I want it to be, but also to make sure that I'm doing the right things each day. I got to know what I'm measuring. I got to know what does right for every avenue of everything about my day when it comes to the business, when it comes to delivering to my clients, doing programs, making sure the check-ins are going well, making sure that I'm getting enough clients in, and like all these different metrics, right? But that goes for everything else in life as well. Like you're eating healthy habits, going to the gym, all these different things, your boundaries for life, to have the mental health you need in the space. Like all of these things, you have to have the things that you can measure that are non-negotiable to keep these things in the standard that you want to understand where you're at. And a lot of the times we don't know what to measure, and I think that's why it becomes a bigger thing when I separate the emotions and feelings you feel that come up in your life, and like separating them from what you're capable of. Because I think the biggest thing with a lot of us is, you know we're human, obviously, so we have mental health issues, and our mindset and our mental health just tries to save us at all times. It tries to make sure that we're as comfortable as we are at all times, and that creates a lot of conflict in our mental health, which is why I'm trying to highlight the fact that if you measure these things, you can really look at them and get validated, because then you can switch your emotions to work with them versus against them. You're able just to be able to look at your life through a different lens, and when When you're able to separate the emotions and feelings from the actual conversation and look at things for what they are, you're able to navigate them more clearly. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? Like I can give you several fucking different examples. It doesn't happen overnight about measuring things and you're seeing immediate success and feeling better. And it's honestly tedious as fuck and you almost like hate doing it, but it's understanding the value that it's coming and going to give you, the certainty like I'm talking about, the clarity and the peace of mind I'm talking about, right? So we can all talk about when we first started going to the gym. There's the fucking process of trying to move your body. You know, it's like, oh fuck man, like I gotta go to the gym, I gotta train. For me, that was never really an issue. I really, really enjoyed it, even after the car accident doing rehab. But there's a lot of people out there that have busy lives and maybe not necessarily enjoy the movement side of things, and that's completely okay. But again, it's understanding the balance of, okay, I know once I get through these 4 or 5 hard ass workouts this week, I'm gonna get X. You know, once I show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm gonna get X. Like it's understanding what's gonna come out of it, right? And then eventually you get to tracking the days that make you feel your best, and you get a program, and then eventually you just keep finding all the things that make you feel your best. And then again, each week, each day, and each month, and each fucking year, you're able to measure what makes you feel your best, right? So then you gain certainty, you gain clarity, you get better, you get faster, you get stronger. Same thing with nutrition, right? You start at the beginning. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're trying to figure it out. You find out where you get resistance. Is it tracking macros 10 out of 10, 10 toes down, chin up, and fucking attacking the app full tilt? Or is it baby stepping into it, working on habits and lifestyle changes first? But regardless, all of this progression in this area is used by measuring your non-negotiables for your life to have a high standard. But when it gets into bigger things like, life changes, mental health and things like that, that's why it's so important to bringing it back to removing your emotions from what you're capable of and measuring things to gain clarity and certainty and understanding it's not going to change overnight, is because, when we start to get into the bigger avenues of life, like the bigger goals, many of you guys have been changing your life for many years. And actually one of my clients recently was talking, and like they had a younger life that they had to grow up as well. Like, I moved to it at 17. Some other people I worked with moved to it at like 16, 18, 15, all these things. And it's hard. You know what I mean? And it's like, so when it comes to mental health and making these decisions, every single one of us have patterns that, one, serve us, and two, don't serve us. The ones that serve us are who we are. The ones that we took out of our life that we've had growing up and are able to really express ourselves. And that's where our life is leading. And that's what we're trying to understand more about, which is why we're building boundaries around our mental health and working towards being the best versions of ourselves, right? But when it comes to the patterns we don't understand, we get self-conflicted, right? Like, why do we feel shame? Why do we feel guilt? Why do we not feel good enough? Why do we feel all these different emotions as to why we can't, get our life, quote unquote, where we want to? And a lot of that comes with just understanding the patterns for what they are, which comes with a lot of self-acceptance of who you are, what you've grown up with, and all these different things, which is a different conversation. But it's hard. It's just simply fucking super, super hard. And I think the biggest thing to take away with that is not associating who you are as a person with what you're doing in life with the emotions you're feeling. I feel like I fucked that up a little bit, but it's not about associating the heaviness is what I want to say. The magnitude of the emotions you feel are validated, but you're not associated with them. They're just, again, self-expressive patterns in your life you just got to gain control over, which leads me to using those metrics of measurement for your non-negotiables to gain clarity and have that confidence. And when it comes to mental health and physical goals, like self-acceptance is the biggest thing that I feel like a lot of you guys can benefit from when actually changing your life, because it's so hard to accept you have become the person that you never thought you were going to become. And that's the biggest thing that I realized, like for me, it was always like crossing T's, dotting I's, like getting that validation that I was on the right path. But there's going to be a point where you track your nutrition so much, there's not much more to do besides just show up and do the thing. You go to the gym, there's not much more to do besides show up and do the thing. When it comes to running my business and changing my career, like there's not that much more to do besides just doing the thing. And I think that's where it comes hard to understand why I feel this way and not comparing that to where I am at in my life and that's why I'm here, is because it's like you've never had to really attack that part of your life. And then you can blame it on so many different things as to why you can't attack that part of your life, whether it's not having the right guidance growing up and mom and dad not being able to teach it to you, whether it's not growing up in the right friend group and whatever, or maybe you're just a victim mentality and you're stuck in old patterns and, just whatever the reason is you can't embrace it. That is the reason why you can't embrace it, and you got to accept that, and that's a whole other journey on that conversation. But the biggest thing with that is it's there. And it's like not associating it with who you've become, because who you've become is putting pressure on these old patterns, because you're trying to mold yourself into this version. And some of you guys are so far along this journey that you have to like truly measure like super detail oriented things, where you have to journal and do heavy ass journaling about like self-acceptance. What is your biggest fear? Like what makes you happy? Like what's your picture perfect day? And like, I'm not trying to be cheesy by any means, but a lot of you guys can't answer these questions because you guys are so caught up with trying to become better. But you guys have become better, but now it's not being able to accept that you are the best version. Which again, removing how you feel, because it's not about feeling less than, but it's understanding you're still here. And it's okay to be hungry. It's okay to still want a lot more. It's okay to still want to move forward and try to gain every avenue of gaining on any more money, better fitness, better mindset, waking up better. Like, you're always going to be a little bit tired. You're always going to be chasing something. But again, it's not a matter of if you're doing the right thing. It's a matter of when you realize you already have been doing the right thing, And I feel like that's a good way to end this episode, because, again, if you're not tracking your non-negotiables, you're never going to really find out where you're at in your life to really scale the lifestyle. Because none of you guys are looking for something that's like one and off. Like, I don't want to lose weight and get in shape for once. I don't want to do all this, that, and just for once. But it's like, sorry, I just thought the video. The video just started off flickering, so I was like, oh no, did it all fuck up? But it's like, you're not looking to change your life for 2 seconds. You're not just looking to do it for a season. You're looking to do it forever. And I think, once you realize that the emotions that you're feeling are ones you're going to get over, and then it's gone forever, that's why it's so hard. Forever's a long time, but that's also why you deserve it. But other than that, I appreciate you guys all, again, tuning in each week. The podcast each week has been getting progressively better, and, Emma being on it, it's a blessing as well. And, let's just keep showing up and setting the standard, because, the world is ours, and we get to show up every single motherfucking day and decide what it is. Let's fucking go. But you bet me in that corner and I'll let it blow.